fabulous.
Fabulous, huh?
Fabulous.
Wow.
Tim, I gotta ask the important question.
Yeah?
Are you a Carrie, a Samantha, a Miranda, or a Charlotte?
Wow. That is a really good question. That is a really good question. I don't know. I think it depends on the context of my situation.
That is such a lame answer.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'd want to say I'm certainly not positive enough for Charlotte. You think I'm pretty positive?
I think you're closer.
I'm closer to Charlotte?
I think you're either Charlotte or Miranda.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think I'm split between the two.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't want to completely say either because I feel like I do kind of fall, but that's kind of where I was going.
Yeah.
So I'd fall in between there. Yeah. I don't completely suck as much as Miranda at times. And
no, I think that would be unfair to call you total. Okay, hold on. All right. I'll get into more into this movie when we talk about this movie.
Yeah.
The character of Miranda in the show is much more enjoyable and pleasant than she is in this movie.
For sure.
In fact, all of the characters on the show are much more pleasant and enjoyable than they are in this movie.
I agree.
Except for Carrie. Carrie's always Carrie.
Carrie's always Carrie, I guess. But I kind of agree. I don't. We'll kind of get into it, but there's there's some parts where I'm like, are we all really having this reaction? Why are we all having this reaction right now? So I almost kind of feel like Miranda got done dirty at times too. But then there's other times you're like, what? So I don't know. So yeah. So what about you, brother? Where are you at?
What do you think I am?
I feel like you're probably somewhere between Miranda and Carrie.
Dude, I'm totally a Samantha. What the hell are you talking about?
You don't fully go that way. I don't know. Maybe it's Miranda and Samantha somehow. There's a big gap there.
I don't think
you got your downer moments, don't for sure.
I think you haven't watched enough Sex and the City. You don't realize how amazingly sarcastic Samantha is.
No, for sure. For sure. And I think you're more free in similar ways as Samantha is thinking too. So I'd put that there too. But you can also put that sour frown on. So I think you can bring the Miranda at times. That's why I thought
Miranda is the pragmatist of all of them.
Right. She's the more realist out of all of them. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is true. So shall we get into this movie?
Yeah, it's your pick. So yeah, bring it on, man. Yeah.
Tim, it's the Sex and the City movie.
The movie. Yeah.
Yeah. It is so many years later. But,
yeah.
Okay.
They must have all just given them enough money, right? I'm sure you have a behind the scenes on this that they just eventually threw enough money at them to do it or something.
I don't think they even had to offer them a ton of money. I mean,
really? They just were like, hey, let's just throw this out?
They were all making good money on the show, and they were like, let's keep making more money. And they were like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, Sarah Jessica Parker was a producer on the show, so she was making the most, and she will always
That's
be making
true.
the most on this.
I mean, how much of a gap was it between the movie and the show? Because I only really, again, watched the earlier seasons, maybe mostly just season one. So I don't know from when it ended.
So the show started in 1998 and it ended in 2004. So we're only 4 years later.
Okay.
But yeah, the quality of the show, I think, like it the last two-ish seasons, like post 9/11,
yeah,
all of TV became less fun.
Yeah, it's kind of hard.
It started
to
getting
have
a
fun.
lot more serious.
Yeah,
even though it's so, but Sex and the City still had some like really funny stuff.
Right.
The last season of the show was mostly a downer, man, and I still have more positive feelings about the show than anything else. Okay, so 4 years later since the end of the show, Carrie is now 40-something. For those who don't know, Carrie Bradshaw, played by Sarah Jessica Parker, is a now, like I said, 40-something last single girl columnist novelist. Just writes about sex in the city. She is now in a committed relationship with Mr. Big, who is played by Chris Noth, who is Carrie's on-again, off-again boyfriend. And at this point in their relationship, they are finally getting ready to move in together. Carrie is still Carrie. She's still obsessed with shoes, clothes, and herself. And eventually, because of her editor at Vogue magazine, her small wedding of 75 people balloons into like 200, and the ceremony is going to be held at the New York Public Library. And Mr. Big freaks out and bails. And later on in the movie, Carrie reads an interview she did with the magazine about her upcoming wedding, and chastises herself for using I statements, making the wedding about her, which is just like typical bride stuff. And honestly, and kind of fucked up that she was made to feel bad about it. She's like, I never used the word we. I'm like, not a lot of brides do. When you're talking about the actual wedding,
honest,
when you're talking about the marriage or like what's going to happen, yeah, that's the we. But the actual wedding, like whatever,
right?
So then you got Miranda Hobbs, played by Cynthia Nixon, Carrie's lawyer friend who has the burden of being married to a man who loves her and is absolutely devoted to her.
Because she's a workaholic. That's why it's inconvenient. This is a very lengthy plot description for you.
I'm just going through everything here.
Okay. All right.
I'm going into character heroes.
You're going right into it.
Yeah, I'm going right into it. Sorry.
Okay, so yeah, long story short, she gets jilted. Her friends try to get her out of that jilt, and they all have relationship troubles, and that's the plot of the movie.
It's a 2.5 hour version of Sex and the City.
Yeah, basically.
Sorry. Yeah, Carrie's getting married, gets jilted at the altar, and more. Yeah.
She's depressed, and her friends help her get back on her feet.
Anyway.
So yeah, that's her plot line, right? And then so you were at
Miranda. Miranda and saint of a human being, Steve, have a son together.
Yeah.
Brady. By the way, you didn't. Did you ever meet Brady on the show? Were you watching the show when Brady popped up?
Nope.
Brady, who famously shot half-court shot at MSG for the Knicks game to win $1 million. He didn't get it. But if you didn't know, Miranda's son is named Brady. That Steve's last name is Brady.
Brady?
No, she gave her son her last name, so it's Brady Hobbs.
Gotcha.
But it's just gotta be weird to like call your son by your last name.
And she lives in Brooklyn, which is
she made the sacrifice of moving to Brooklyn. It wasn't cool in 2008, apparently. Well, 2004, that's when it happened.
Yeah, I guess so.
And she's still bitching about it 4 years later.
Yeah, she even tries to make an effort to get back into Manhattan, but it seems like everybody's gone to Brooklyn. So
I will say, like, the one point like where Miranda is not like the worst person in the world in this movie.
Yeah,
is in the very beginning where she's the only one in the friend group quickly pointing out that Carrie needs to get her name on any real estate paperwork.
Yeah,
when she's talking about moving in with Big into a new apartment, she's like,
Yep.
Point of order.
Yep. That actually is a very good point.
Yeah, and I'm like, thank you.
Yep.
So yeah, but like Miranda is, if we were still doing like the old action version of this, like hero villain, Miranda's the villain of this movie. Because this is what this movie feels about her. She like turns into it anyway.
Definitely the way they make you feel about her.
Like I think it's the way the movie feels about her. I don't think it's the way I feel. It's the way the movie feels about her.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the way the movie feels about her. I think it's unfair.
The movie says like she neglected her marriage,
right?
And like all of her friends agree that it's all her fault.
Almost right away.
Yeah, they're all like giving like thoughts. Like,
yeah, like
all
almost
side-eyeing
immediately.
her.
Like he cheated on her. By the way, right? So Steve cheats and basically says, which I think is wrong, and it's why I feel like it's just weird. Like everybody, like. Since we haven't had sex since winter, I cheated on you, which is
6 months. There was snow
no,
on the ground.
I'm sorry, that's not okay. And I don't understand how your friends are not more on your side about this, because they're clearly like, forgive him and then move on. And I'm like, what? I don't understand.
Like, first off, I'll get into this later, because you didn't watch the show, so I forgive you. Steve would never. No,
okay.
Not him.
Okay.
Not that one.
I guess they kind of did it because it would have been too obvious if it was someone else.
Right. It's more shocking that it's Steve of all people.
Right.
But still, it's like, I don't care. Just absolutely not. He would never.
It's just weird that they didn't have her back more in that moment. Like because they clearly show you all their faces of being like, well, okay, but but they all say the words that they're supposed to say, but clearly they don't mean it. And it's just like, this is weird. It's just a weird take. It's a weird take to have from your girlfriends. Like, it's just so bizarre. Yeah, and I don't understand it.
But it's not. She's not the only one this movie seems to not like. That's what's my problem with this movie.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you a question too. Oh, and then later on, sorry. After she's reeling with dealing with this information of finding out that Steve has cheated on her, a man that she doesn't seem to actually like all that much in the beginning of this movie.
Yeah. But I remember when I watched the show, I do remember Steve.
Oh, you do remember Steve? Okay.
I do remember Steve, yeah. And I remember her being kind of crappy towards him right from the beginning.
Always what? Because he was beneath her, because he was just a bartender.
Yeah.
And she was a lawyer, yeah.
Yeah, so that I remember. So to me, it seemed like business as usual.
Right, but like they have a kid together, and he was like, he was dependable, and actually like genuinely decent to her, and
right, he's like a good guy.
Yeah, he was like actually like legitimately the only good guy that she ever ran into in the entire length of the show.
Right.
And then like later on, like after we find out about all this, the night before Carrie's wedding, a concerned Big goes to her after seeing like a confrontation with her and Steve. Big asks her like, "Is she okay?" And like Miranda blows up, and she's like, "No," and she's like, "You're insane to get married. Marriage ruins everything."
Yeah,
and it's like, girl,
this is the worst possible person to say that to.
Come on.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you a question too.
I like to, by the way, before you ask the question, I like to that she doesn't think of this at all until it's kind of like I think Carrie eventually says, "Well, what happened?" or something, like, because it's like she doesn't immediately think of it. Like it's like almost like she used to almost get hit over the head with the circumstances to her family to be like, "Oh, this was probably me." Like, seriously.
In fairness, it wasn't just her, and we'll get into my problems with that
later
on.
Yep.
But, yeah, I want to ask this quick question: is Miranda asking at a 5-star resort if it has Wi-Fi racist? It feels racist in 2024, but maybe it's not racist in 2008. I remember staying in some 2-star hotels back in 2008 that had no Wi-Fi, and some nice casinos still charge for Wi-Fi back then. But so I don't know. It's like that's just I don't know.
I don't know. I chalk it up to her workaholicness, but like at the same time, like it is weird, especially when like she makes a comment later about the food and the water, like, why are you eating only pudding? This is a 5-star hotel. Like, she's the one that makes that comment later. It's like, all right, well, we don't trust it for the Wi-Fi. I think I don't know if I completely think it's racist. I mean, maybe there's a slight bit of it, but like she's so single-minded focused, right? And that's what they're hitting you over the head with this in this movie.
I don't know. It's probably 2024 brain, and I should have been like kinder because it's 2008, but still like, huh.
I've only been to Mexico once, and it was way after that. So
right, exactly. Anyway, let's get to the light in this movie. Samantha Jones, played by the immortal Kim Cattrall.
Yep.
Is Carrie's publicist and friend. She is tragically trapped in a loving relationship.
Yeah. Where somehow she is with this relationship. I wasn't clear. Was she married to this guy or not married?
No, not married.
Not married.
Never.
She hates marriage. That's right. But she is in a committed relationship, which is still weird for her. But
okay, so you never watched the end of the show, right?
No, the last time I remember a plot line from her is when she randomly goes gay for a little while.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah, that was the last thing I remember.
The best part about that, did you ever see how that relationship ended? Where she's gay for a little while?
The last thing I remember about
Do you know how that relationship ended?
No, I just remember her trying to kind of figure out how to go down on a girl and couldn't figure it out.
It's funnier. This is how that relationship ended. So, like, Samantha, of course, is normally with dudes.
Right.
So, and she's talking to her girlfriend about how she misses dick. And so her girlfriend gets her a strap-on. And Samantha tries on the strap-on to try to, like, nail her girlfriend. And she throws out her back. And she breaks up with her. She's like, I can't. I don't know how guys do it. I can't do it.
That's funny.
Samantha was the best on the show. She always was.
I mean, she was a lot of fun from what I remember, yeah.
So the way the show ended, season 6, Samantha gets cancer.
Oh, wow. Okay. You weren't kidding.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Samantha gets cancer and meets this guy, Smith Jared. His real name is like Jerry Jared. He goes by Smith Jared. Snappier. And he basically just like stays with her and helps her out through the chemo and everything like that.
Yeah.
And like I think the last couple episodes is like tragically because of the chemo she like can't reach an orgasm, and then, like the final episode is her finally getting an orgasm again.
Wow.
God bless it. Anyway, so she's still with the guy, helping out his career and everything like that, managing him. But you know, my girl Samantha can't be caged. This bird's got to be free,
right?
And he's working crazy
all
hours.
About him and I don't think she minds the separation with his crazy hours, but like she can't get it on when she wants to get it on, which is all the time, and her career is now about his career.
Right.
And so it's not, her independence is basically gone.
This movie basically punishes her for not just being happy with Smith Jared.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of angry at it. And I'm like, leave her alone. That this is my light of the... It's one of my best characters on TV.
It's weird too, because I mean, maybe this is too much into the next category, but it's they try to make her temptation really funny, and I don't find it funny. Like I don't find any of it that funny. There's not funny parts with her.
She's the funniest character in the movie, and none of that is actually funny. Yeah, I agree.
Without a doubt. But the parts of her temptation, which I think they try to be like, isn't this hilarious? Is not.
No.
And that's kind of like the weird thing. Like, no, this is not funny. And like her weird eating thing all of a sudden at the last like 5 minutes of the movie with it. It was her 5 minutes of the last screen time with her character. Is like all of a sudden there's like an eating thing to make her not cheat, which came at the very, very, very end.
We'll get into how angry I am with that bullshit later.
It's so ridiculous.
So and then we got Charlotte,
who's not a character in this movie. The end. That laugh tells me I'm right.
So this is what I literally have written down for it.
Yeah.
Charlotte York, played by Kristen Davis, is also Carrie's friend.
Yep.
Ellipsis. ... She eventually gets pregnant, but it takes 75 minutes into it. It's nearly 75 minutes. It's nearly 2.5 hours.
How about it takes 45 minutes to get to any conflict in this movie at all? I clocked it.
Did you?
I did.
Okay, but that's fine. I'm talking just for her.
I
I'm
literally paused the movie. I was like, hey, there's conflict.
I'm like,
oh my God.
But this one, there's 4 characters in this movie.
Right.
In a 2.5 hours movie.
Right.
2 hours and 25 minutes. Something. She has no arc until like 75 minutes in. We got like, oh, there's something. Here we go.
Kind of.
And like, here was again, once because you didn't watch the show. So in season 6, well, also, this is actually throughout the show. If you remember, she was married to Trey McDougal. Do you remember this marriage at all?
Is that the really boring dude that was in...
Kyle MacLachlan, the original star of Dune.
Yes, that's what I remember. Yep.
Yeah. She had trouble getting pregnant. And this
Wasn't he the kind of guy
that
keep referencing his mother as mother type of deal?
Well, there's Bunny McDougal, who was one of the funniest extra characters we ever had in the show.
Right. So I have some faint things, but I think that might have been towards the end of my watching. Yeah.
Right. Bunny was a great... Like she was like the... Like everything Charlotte thought that she wanted to be, but it's like this uptight, like wasp, like Terminator,
right?
Like a good horror story. Like, oh my God. But so like Charlotte always struggled throughout the show to get pregnant when she was married, and then once again, same thing with her newest husband, and the end of the show, they ended up going to adopt a baby from China,
right?
And so it's a big deal in this movie where she all of a sudden magically gets pregnant.
Right. And they decide to have conflict with that for literally one scene. Almost. Where she's like, you're not running, you need to run. Like, get over yourself. Like, you can't change who you are. And then she just starts doing it. That's it.
And Tim calling this conflict is being so kind.
So kind. So kind. Otherwise, she's just like, I always knew it. And I know she was always the optimistic one. She was always the naive one. But it was just like, I'm just there to be positive, Miss whatever. She's given like one, I guess, kind of funny thing to do.
Yeah, well, no, she does, yeah.
I didn't think it was good. But, because again, Samantha gets most of the punchlines. But anyway... yeah, and that's it. Like, she was a bummer. She was a real bummer in this show. In this movie, because she has nothing to do. She has nothing to do.
Anyway, so Carrie was always the least interesting, most annoying of the 4 main characters in the show for me.
Yeah.
But the movie seems to really have like a disdain for her and the rest of them.
Yeah.
With the exception, I guess, of Charlotte, which is just no interest in her at all.
I think it's almost worse. We just don't care about you. We're not going to give you much to do.
I know. It's just kind of shocking considering Michael Patrick King was a regular writer on the show. He wrote, like, at the exception of the series premiere, he wrote, like, every season premiere and every season finale.
Yeah.
And he wrote the series finale. And it feels like since, like, King wrote the series finale of the show, he was happy with where it landed. With where Charlotte? The whole show.
Okay, yeah.
Where they all ended up. He's like, he was happy with where the ladies ended up as far as all getting happy endings, and he was angry at the women for continuing the story because the men had to be blameless in the story, more or less. And they were given heaps more sympathy than all the women in this movie. It's just bizarre.
I mean, you want to talk about screen time, it's even worse for Charlotte's husband. But we'll get
Evan
to that
Handler,
later.
Yeah. He's never given much to do in anything, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
But the
show.
Are
we on Carrie now? Is that where we're on?
I have one more thing to say on this whole category,
fair enough,
then I'm going to go into actual laughing out loud.
We didn't get to Carrie at all, though.
I talked about Carrie early on.
That's how little we got to say about one.
That's all I had to say about that one.
She gets jilted and whatever.
Carrie is Carrie.
Yep.
The show on the surface is like a portal to vicariously live through a 20-something woman in New York where money wasn't an issue and clothes are beautiful and lots of consequence-free sex, but also the abundance of like non-toxic, healthy female relationships were like key.
Yeah, it's going to be a cause for many women to move to New York City.
But the women in this are older, and that is all carried over. It's no problem, but the comedy isn't what it used to be. It just isn't hitting the marks. It's it seemed more interested in being a melodrama than a comedy.
Yeah, and it kept giving it a nod to,
And
look, this is the next generation that's coming along.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking in the beginning of the movie.
Which
think
baffles me that there's another movie.
This movie works better as a melodrama because I think if you watch the show,
Yeah.
I think it works fine as a melodrama. Just fine.
Right.
As a comedy, though, like, it wasn't even trying most of the time. Not really.
It asked a lot of Samantha.
Well,
It asked a lot.
I laughed. I don't know why I put this in this.
And
category.
is there a weird thing to, I don't know if you have this in your notes, wasn't there like a weird relationship between the actual actresses and such?
I did not put this in any of my notes, but
if I remember correctly, not everybody got along with what's her name that plays
Kim
Samantha?
Cattrall.
Kim Cattrall,
Yeah.
thank you.
I don't know, man.
Fair enough. You don't have to go in depth. Am I right to assume, from what I think I remember, that there was a thing?
No, there is a thing.
Okay.
That's why she's not part of the sequel. She turned down being in the third movie. She's like, I'm not doing it. And she wouldn't be part of the sequel show because she said she just wasn't treated well by the rest of the cast. And I don't know if she meant by the entire cast or just Sarah Jessica Parker or what.
Right.
But based on the way they treated her in this movie, although to be fair, the way they treated all the women in this movie, I don't know.
Right.
So,
I mean, at least they gave her a lot of screen time. But
and I never saw the second movie. And,
neither did I.
But from what I heard about the second movie and what I've heard and I've seen bits of the sequel show, it's been diminishing returns, and she was right to walk away.
Right. It's cash grabs. That makes sense.
Well, yeah. I mean, at this age, for a woman in Hollywood, go get your money. I don't blame anyone.
That's true.
So having even said all that, I mean, I don't know if you want to have any more you want to say about these characters. I mean, if you do, God bless, go on, and I will bounce off you. But I'm ready to give my rating.
No, we actually went longer than I would have.
And I am going to give this, and it's probably unfair, but, there was 6 seasons of a show. So these are great characters that I know from forever. So I'm giving it a 3.
Simpatico.
We are? Well, look at that.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to yell at me.
No, I went lower at first.
Yeah?
But then I didn't like my final score. And I was like, you know what? These are iconic characters.
They all are.
Regardless, right, of what this movie might have done to some of them. And I'm not even a one that completed this show, but I watched I feel like a fair amount to be like, yeah, these are great characters. So I bumped it up for that. And so, yeah, I also went 3.
Okay.
All right. I'm not hating on you.
And at the end of this category, I'm going to tell you my favorite Sex and the City moment.
Okay.
Was when Samantha started dating a Knicks fan.
I don't know if I know this one.
So Samantha and the girls go to a sports bar. Wait, this is even better. They go to supposedly the regular bar, but it's sports night, which
boy.
fucking killed me by itself.
Right.
And ladies drink free on sports night. and they gave them old Sam Adams at that. Free Sam Adams for sports night.
That's heavy for a lot of people drinking a bunch.
In a bottle, not even draft, like Sam Adams rig.
I mean, I would have been fine. I would have been great. But yeah, that would not appeal to the masses.
But it's just like I'm just delighted by this to begin with. Like
right.
A sports night. Anyway, so she meets this guy at a bar and she has great sex with this guy after a Knicks win, but he's superstitious, so he'll only have sex with her after a Knicks win. Samantha starts getting really invested into the Knicks. And she starts like cursing out like Allen Houston and shit.
That's great.
Like while watching the Knicks, it's amazing. And the button at the end of the episode with her character, is like at the end. It's the last game of the season. The Knicks win. She is delighted. He's screaming up a storm, and then he's like, "Wait! I gotta put on the Mets. Baseball season started. I gotta get into this." And she's like, "Absolutely not. Nope." And she just walks away.
That is great. That is really good.
It's just like that has stuck with me forever. It's amazing.
That is amazing. That is really funny. Yeah, I can see that. That's too much.
Yeah. All right. A Mets fan. Like, nope.
All
right. So,
hilarity.
Yeah, favorite laugh out loud moments.
There's not a lot. There's not a lot.
So, actual funny jokes in this movie are few and far between.
Maybe it's just not for me. I don't know. Maybe it's just not built for me. I don't know what it is.
No, I mean, it definitely seems more interested in being a melodrama than a comedy.
Right.
No surprise, the first joke that makes me laugh goes to the show and this movie's MVP, Samantha Jones.
Fair enough. Is it about the guy she's interested in the street walking by and ends up being gay?
No,
okay.
Not that.
That was like got a smirk for me.
Okay, well there you go.
Yeah.
Carrie calls Samantha up on the phone.
Yeah.
And just to let her know that she has gotten engaged.
Right, yeah.
And she's like, well, I've made a little decision I hope you'll be happy with. And
Botox?
Samantha replies, oh, honey, you finally got Botox.
That is funny, yeah.
And I'll be honest, like with the venom, the history that you've alluded to with like the venom between those two actresses.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, that added something to it for me. Just like,
fair enough. Yeah.
It's like, I loved it. Cattrall's delivery, like the excited delivery, just like really.
No, I agree. That is like the first legitimate out loud.
I had to pause because I was laughing so hard.
Yeah. I did have two more smirks before that, but I agree
please
with
tell
you
me.
that
Where'd you smirk?
Yeah, again, I'm being kind. I smirked at them talking about seeing 33 apartments, and then they get brought into a really terrible small apartment, which is for New York City not really that terrible of an apartment. But for them and their echelon, yes, maybe, right? Anyway, it's 33, and then they see it and it's terrible, and the joke, she goes, 34.
All right, but you see Big's apartment, right?
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, wait, where was their price range? What the fuck is this?
I don't.
So when they see apartment 33, I'm like, why weren't they already looking at the penthouse?
To be fair, like almost everything filmed in New York City, apartment-wise, has never made sense in any moment in Hollywood ever.
Well, I mean, there's Friends is always like the one that's like never has made any sense, but at least they called that one rent controlled.
Seinfeld. I mean, a lot of their apartments are kind of ridiculous.
Seinfeld wasn't as crazy, but yeah.
That's pretty bad. I don't know.
It's a one bedroom.
It's not as bad as obviously Friends, but like again, a lot of stuff is not realistic, right? And having multiple roommates is way more normal and stuff like that. Especially when you think about the show and how they all lived in their own apartments.
Right. No. My point is though, if you look at Big's place,
right,
it's huge, giant windows everywhere, and like.
He's in finance, so it makes a little bit more sense. Like
no, I understand. But like, why are they like looking at these tiny places? You know, like where, they're just like, oh, like, this is where our budget is. Like, how is that where your budget is when I've seen where Big is? Like we've seen where Big is the entire time. I guess
because they want to go halves, maybe originally the idea.
If they had said that would have made sense, but they didn't.
They never really established that, and she seemed okay for him paying.
For the penthouse, yeah.
For the penthouse there for a little bit until Miranda makes her realize. So, yeah, so it's weird. But anyway, I thought her jumping up and down saying 34 with a smile was cute and a little funny. So I smirked.
Right.
But I also thought when she announced the engagement to the other group of friends before Samantha, I thought some of Miranda's delivery there was kind of funny. So I slightly smirked at that stuff too. You know, like, especially when Charlotte kind of freaks out and goes over the top and Miranda replies like, oh, now I'm deaf and stuff like that. Like,
right.
I
still ringing in my ear. Yeah.
Yeah. I still think she has some really good delivery there. So I'll give her some props there. But yeah.
No, Cynthia Nixon, a good actress. And they're all really good actresses. They
all are. And I think the problem is there's not a whole lot of material here.
Not for comedies problem. Anyway.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. And so that's why I was like, these things were smirks. They were not really funny. I agree with you. The first like real funny thing was Samantha's lines were really funny on the phone.
Speaking of smirks, so Carrie is famous for wearing like over the top ridiculous clothes a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So
there's so many annoying callbacks, but I guess they're
no. Hold on, before you get to that, because I know
Yeah?
what you were gonna do. But there's a scene where Carrie gets into bed with Big, and they're like reading through her library book of like love letters. My girl's wearing a tank top, underwear, and pearls. Why the hell is she wearing pearls to bed?
I don't know. You got to look fabulous all the time, Patrick.
I was like, what the fuck is that?
There's some of this like weird after effect of like HBO in the era of Sex and City, right? I mean, they really went out of their way sometimes to sell sex, right? That's how they would get you in on the early seasons, at least, of their shows.
Right.
They'd get you in on the sex type stuff, and then that started to fade away as the show became successful. So it's kind of weird to see like almost immediately you see like Carrie like in her like tank top and panties like multiple times at the beginning of the show. And then it randomly comes back in at the end where like you get random sex scenes with some of the characters. It's like, what? So weird.
So earlier in the movie, after admitting it had been 6 months since Miranda had sex with Steve, Miranda quizzes the rest of the ladies how often they have sex with their partner.
Right.
And Charlotte says 2 to 3 times a week she has sex with Harry. And later on, when Charlotte finds out that Steve cheated on Miranda, we get a classic Carrie voiceover. And Charlotte made love to Harry 4 times that week. And it's just like, it's a good callback joke that made me laugh. I don't know.
Fair enough.
I was like,
I actually had a couple other things that made me smirk because you had what's your name? Her boss at Vogue.
Candice Bergen.
Yeah, who is regardless of her age and ability, her way to deliver a line is always great.
It's fucking Murphy Brown. I mean,
yeah, I mean she's phenomenal. So I couldn't help myself but smirk at some of her lines, especially with
single girl.
Well, not just the last single girl, but saying like, oh, you'll have Vogue photographers and dresses and Vogue airbrush, and that kind of made me laugh there. Right. And then she's like, they are harping on the 40 thing. And like, oh, I'm not the first girl to be in Vogue on 40. It's like 40, no, 40 bride. Yeah. Like that. So I thought there was some good stuff from her on that.
You're probably right.
I'm stretching, Patrick.
No. Hey, I am never going to complain about a Candice Bergen shout out.
Again, because these actresses are phenomenal.
Okay, so.
And we've all seen them do great stuff, too.
Yeah.
So there's not bad.
I want to shout out your boy, Evan Handler here. Tim was a big Californication fan.
It was.
Yeah. So after the rehearsal dinner, giant rehearsal dinner.
Yeah.
Harry, Big, was it Samantha? Was it Smith there too? Are all out smoking cigars in front of the restaurant.
Yeah, all of them but Steve, basically.
No, Steve's not there. And I don't know what happened, but at the beginning of the scene, Harry says, there's nothing like an illegal Cuban cigar after dinner, huh?
I missed that line.
I don't think you're supposed to hear it.
Yeah, you just caught it.
I think it's like, what a normal thing.
Did you have the subtitles on?
No, I just happened to hear it, and then
sometimes you do.
I know. This is one of the times like, what the hell did he just say?
Yeah.
And I rewound it and like, I got to hear that again. And that time I put the subtitles on. It's like, yeah, son of a bitch, he said it. And I have to wonder if they just told Evan Handler like make something up so we enter the scene, and he figured it wouldn't make the movie.
Right.
So like, because Steve enters the scene like right after it, like as he walks up.
Aren't you supposed to just say peas and carrots and have that mumbled? Come on, man.
Exactly, something like that. But
right.
He just says, there's nothing like an illegal Cuban cigar after dinner, huh? It's like, that's a normal human thing to say.
Right. Are you a robot? What have you been replaced with?
Anyway, I enjoyed seeing Samantha smoking cigars with the boys, and I thought it was bullshit that they had to put out their illegal Cuban cigars so Miranda could talk Steve.
Yeah.
One of these parties could have simply just like shifted down the street a little bit.
I think it would have been funnier to see someone else try to join that gang with the cigar smoking, you know what I mean? Like have Charlotte try to do it or something, you know what I mean? And have something funnier. Like again, there's opportunities here they just didn't really try. But anyway, carry on. No pun intended.
Speaking of Carrie, Carrie trying to call Big at the wedding, and Samantha hands her smartphone, and Carrie takes one look at it, and it's like, I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah.
That made me crack a smile.
That one was a bit like, man, really? At this point in time,
it's 2008. That's still early.
All right,
that's still early with the smartphone.
Like,
man.
I actually had to look this up because I was like, really? At this point? Like, okay.
But Carrie always had that thing with technology. She's never great with it, so it's true to the show.
Right.
Because I don't know. I don't know if you remember like the episode with her and Aiden where like her computer crashes.
Right.
Do you remember this at all?
No.
Oh, this is a classic for me. Yeah. I was very invested in the Carrie and Aiden relationship.
Man, our sister got you hooked.
True enough. Aiden had a dog, so he seemed cool to me.
Right. Fair enough.
Anyway, so Carrie's computer starts crashing, right? And she's freaking out. And he's like, I got some skills. I can handle this. And he goes over to the computer and he hits Control-Delete and makes the computer worse. And she brings it into the Mac store. And the Apple genius is like, did you hit Control-Delete? And he explains like, yeah, it's the worst thing you can do to a Mac. And like, voiceover is like, and there it was. I was a Mac and he was a PC. I was like, this fucking show. Yeah, I know. It was like, it's of an era.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you still slightly hear that. Now it's iPhone and Android, right?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
He was a blue text. I was a green.
I'm not sure where we're at now. I'm sorry. Did we skip over? I think we did. There was some of the sex talk where they were uncomfortable saying it in front of Charlotte's daughter.
Coloring.
Yeah. And so again, this is some heavy lifting from Samantha.
Go ahead.
Right. So like they're upset that they talked about sex at all in front of Charlotte's daughter, who's at the table with all of them. Most amazing, well-behaved daughter at this meal of BS, right? Oh, like it's just not realistic. But anyway, so Charlotte's upset about them talking about sex, so then they have to change, code switch basically, right? And so they talk about coloring, and so there's like, so basically this is where Samantha just goes on line after line of being pretty funny, I gotta say. So like. I think my favorite out of those lines, though, I'm not going to go through every line, but the favorite line I have is, I would use every crayon in my box. And that made me laugh. I really like that line.
It felt, okay, so this scene for me felt like a parody of a Sex and the City scene. Like, this is the like SNL making fun of Sex and the City to me.
Fair enough.
That's what I was like watching, like, are they for real with this? Like,
I don't think it would have worked without Kim Cattrall. Just the line delivery is phenomenal. Again, the way she says that the way she just enunciates box, like I'm like,
you're never gonna get me to say a bad word about Kim Cattrall. I won't do it.
Like you nailed it. You're great.
Yeah, I couldn't even do it for a split second. I won't do it.
That movie was awful.
Yeah, she was great.
Barely in it, but okay, fair enough.
She was great. So I'm still post wedding. Did you want to say anything?
Post wedding. I mean, you guys before.
I'm like at the wedding, I should say.
I know there was again they tried to do a line with Charlotte's kid there, with her having the phone.
Why is she there?
I don't know.
I'm okay with her being at like the brunch or whatever. Okay, stuff happens, but like in the sleepover, like before the wedding, I was like,
right. I think she's staying at Charlotte's place.
Is that right? Okay.
I think that's what it is. I think that's Charlotte's place.
Okay, you might be right. It still seems weird.
It is a little weird that they're having their girl powwow with her. I don't know, especially when they're like not even like
Matching
reading a book
bathrobes.
or putting her to bed or something. Like they're just kind of doing their chit chat with Charlotte's daughter there. So it's weird. But regardless, the daughter gets access to Carrie's phone. And so the joke, I guess, is supposed to be Charlotte's like, hey, that's why we had to switch the code switch early to coloring because she's a parrot. So we got to code switch again. She'll just say things. So
sex.
Right. She just picks up the phone and says sex, which I guess is supposed to be like a hilarious moment. And it really wasn't. But I kind of appreciate the kid humor of it.
Yeah, I'm never gonna be angry about a kid saying inappropriate things.
Right? Yeah, that's kind of was like I kind of dig it. I wish there was better, like delivery of it or build up. I don't know what it was. It could have been better, but I appreciated the attempt.
Don't get angry at the child actors.
No, never. That's not my complaint here at all.
All right. Small stupid thing, but a woman trying to storm off in a tight dress where she can't really move her legs. So she just makes these tiny steps really fast away. Will just always make me snort. And so after Carrie confronts Big at the limo,
right,
and Charlotte has to walk around the limo, storm away.
Right. I actually didn't pick up on that, but okay.
She's trying to move really fast and angry away. I'm like, it made me laugh. I'm sorry. It just always will. She can't move her legs. Her dress is too short, too tight.
Was there a slight Carrie joke about TiVo in this movie? Pretty sure there was, and I was like,
I might have missed it.
I'm trying to. That was another one I was looking up. Was like TiVo. Is this relevant to this time? I thought TiVo was already dead at this point. I had to look that up too. I did not get a firm conclusion on that one.
I remember one good joke with TiVo. It was on the King of Queens with Patton Oswalt, or TiVo would start recording things you would think you would like,
right?
And Patton Oswalt's character on King of Queens, his TiVo would start recording like ice capades and other things like that. TiVo thinks I'm gay, and as far as gay panic jokes go, that one made me laugh.
Fair enough.
All right, so. Fast forwarding to something that actually made me laugh because,
there you go.
Good Lord, we're in a drought here.
There's a gap. There's a gap.
We are in it this is dark.
Yep. Well, you get jilted at the altar. Yeah, things are going to get dark.
Yeah, so Carrie suggests going to the hotel for dinner because she has to do something to pull her out of her Mexicoma. And Samantha replies with, "Oh, honey! You made a little joke." And this is funny on several levels.
This is the first thing that I made a reference to for hilarity as well. That's the moment. Yep.
Yeah, because Cattrall's delivery is fucking perfect.
It's amazing.
And honestly, it felt like a private condescending joke between her and me. The movie, it's oh, we're supposed to be funny here. Remember that? We're supposed to try.
Although
but yeah, I
some
laughed
of her
pretty
jokes
hard
towards Miranda about her legs and her unshavedness was again heavy lifting from Samantha being funny. I think that's slightly before the "you made a joke" comment, but yeah,
it was, and I don't know, that stuff it was more like,
I feel like it was all the stuff from the trailer from this movie. To be honest,
I didn't rewatch the trailer, but
I
that one felt more like Miranda is the worst, reiterating this is all still Miranda's fault, and everyone's like, oh, well, God.
They kind of do it, right? Because
she wasn't fucking Steve, and she still didn't shave.
It's
Jesus.
my fault because I neglected my marriage. She storms off, and they all
she literally says that, and they're all kind of
They literally do look at each other. Yup.
Yeah, Jesus.
See, it's still not an okay thing to cheat, though. Everybody.
Steve would never, though.
Steve Truther.
I am a Steve Truther. Sure. I don't know if Meg, your wife, watches the show, but
I know
the sequel show.
I don't know. No.
They did my man even dirtier in the sequel show.
Oh dear Lord, really?
Well, I don't know if really what they did to Miranda in the sequel show and what.
I didn't honestly know there was a sequel show. I thought they just came out with the second movie. That was it.
No, and Just Like That, there's a sequel show called And Just Like That, which doesn't have Kim Cattrall in it.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, you don't know? Oh,
I know this.
I'm going to tell you.
HBO or Max or whatever?
Yeah. I'll tell you about this at the end. I'm going to tell you what the premise of the first episode.
I had no idea. I kind of got the gist of what happened in the second movie. I didn't know there was another show.
Oh, yeah.
Good Lord.
I'm going to make you laugh real hard with the end of this one.
All right.
So, we're in Mexico.
They try to clear the bed, too, of all the petals, and it's supposed to be funny. It's not.
No, that's not funny. I don't think it was supposed to be funny. It's just like, oh, shit, that sucks.
No, I thought they were trying to play that for humor.
You haven't watched the newest season of True Detective, right?
The first, 3 or 4 episodes I did.
Okay, because this is like a similar setup into a thing in
They
True Detective,
totally played this for humor, though, the way they were doing it.
I don't know. It felt like also like
funny.
Oh, no!
Right. I don't know.
But anyway, that one didn't work for me, regardless if it was supposed to be humor. But what did work...
Okay, one thing, I don't know if you're here yet, but I liked how... Because this reminded me of our parents.
Okay, go ahead.
Because they start going into Charlotte's fear of water and all that kind of stuff.
I'm right here. That's exactly
Okay, yeah. So she's only eating pudding or whatever.
Pudding and bottled water. Right. Pudding from Poughkeepsie, Tim!
I know.
Poughkeepsie, New York.
I'm gonna like and hate the joke on that later. But anyway, I really liked where she kind of says she kind of whispers it's Mexico.
Oh right, yeah.
That's a classic momism. It's a 5-star resort. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is my parents right there.
Yeah, no, that was a momism. It's like whisper,
right.
She thinks she's being racist, so she has to whisper it, so it's okay. That woman is black.
That's why, yeah, I don't know if it's actually funny, but for my own context, it's funny.
It's funny. That's a good Charlotte. Anyway,
yeah.
So, as Tim mentions, Charlotte goes for exercises on vacation because she's a fucking psychopath, and only psychopaths exercise on vacation.
Yeah, I agree. Although I know people who do it.
No, they're all psychopaths.
We have one in our family that does it.
It's like, well, that one's just doing it for show.
He doesn't listen, so it doesn't matter.
It doesn't. So and I appreciate it all when Charlotte asked if the girls want to go running with her, and they all just look at her like, what the fuck? No, absolutely not. So she enjoys her run so much, and she takes a shower, and she forgets where she was, and she opens her mouth in the shower.
I think everyone's been there at this point. If you've gone abroad in one of these areas, I have to say, oh no, as soon as I see her doing it, we've all been there. This is terrible.
Oh, well, after my recent trip in the Dominican, I can say I did not do that, although I ran into the same issue anyway.
Right.
Anyway, even though she'd been so good about eating all the pudding and bottled water, she still gets Montezuma's revenge immediately.
Yep.
And I don't think
the run, luckily. And
I don't think the sound effect of her shitting her pants or her yoga pants or running pants is exactly correct.
No.
Her hurried waddle away after shitting her pants made me laugh.
It's disappointing because on one hand I feel like this would have been done better on a Nickelodeon show.
Oh man,
I know, because it's like they're trying to keep the dignity at the same time.
Well, yeah, I mean we saw this better in Bridesmaids.
Right, yeah, exactly. This just could have been done so much better, and they didn't figure it out. Obviously, there's nothing better than Bridesmaids of any similar moment. Bridesmaids is the best.
No ladies ever pooped their pants better on film than Bridesmaids.
Maya Rudolph, I think.
Than all of them. I mean,
no, I agree.
Grant, she's the only one who actually pooped her pants in that movie.
But
the rest of them made some kind of
to do it in a subtle, almost dignity way, because you don't hear anything or anything.
She just falls on the middle of the street. Yeah.
It's her reactions. Oh no, it's happening. That. Yeah. That is amazing. Maya Rudolph is fantastic. But anyway, It's not great. It should have been a huge moment, and then they try to cap off with it with the poop kipsy moment, which I chuckle because of the connection and the proximity to where we grew up, but at the same time I'm like, that's so bad.
It's bad. It's a bad pun, but like
it's bad.
Her look hurried, like she's got poop in her pants, waddle away, made me laugh. Like that's the thing that the physical comedy that Kristen Davis provided there. Like that was good.
And again, it's kind of a reminder of a bummer of like she could have done so much more.
Well, I know she can because we've seen it on the show. Like she can be genuinely funny.
Right? Yeah. In those same kind of ways, and they just did. There was nothing they gave her.
All right. So next thing that made me laugh, Samantha is in bed with Smith Jared, and he says to her, "You seem distant," and she replies, "Distant? You're still inside me."
Yep. I really like that line. That was a really good line. Yep. I had that down.
That's my girl.
Yep. I agree. That was a pretty good line.
And Smith and Samantha continue talking in bed, and she complains, "For the last 2 years, it's been all about you." And he says, "Well, for the first 3 years, it was all about you." And she's like, "I know. It was so much more fun."
Yeah.
The best. Samantha's the best.
And she gets the dog because it humps everything.
I was getting to this later, but yes.
It's well, I'm sorry. See, that's the jump I have till I find something funny.
Well, I had one other thing before that, but yeah.
I mean, it's a big jump, but I'm just saying, like, I thought it was pretty funny that she found a female dog that liked the hump, even though it was fixed. Like, and
well, screw it. Samantha does some shopping in Malibu to fill the sexless void in her life.
Right.
And she finds a horny puppy that's constantly humping things that never fails to make me laugh. I'm sorry, just a dog humping.
It's just funny. I think what's funny, too, is Samantha's like, "I love you," basically. Like, you keep humping. Like, you're right in my own heart with that stuff. But it's like, this is great.
Apparently the dog's name is Baby. I missed that in the movie. I had to look it up. Did you catch it?
Nope.
Didn't. All right. The one time Miranda made me laugh. Witch and sexy kitten. These are the only two options for women. Damn it, Miranda, there are other sexy options.
Yeah. Didn't say nurse. Good Lord.
There's sexy nurses. There's lots of other sexy options.
There's lots of whatever you want, sexy version of whatever you want is there.
But anyway, Carrie's like you said a mouthful there, sister. And so like, this is all a very good exchange. I enjoyed it.
You know what's crazy? Like the next thing that I have is not till surprisingly Carrie gets a slightly funny moment that I don't have.
This is surprising. Go on.
Since the beginning of the movie, right? I gave her some smirk credits at the very beginning.
Go on.
The next time that I find anything smirk worthy again is when she's talking to her new assistant. Yep.
Okay, this is actually I have her talk. My next point is with her, but go on.
Okay, yeah. So it's just them communicating over a text with a guy that wants to hook up with her. Clearly,
right.
Right, and she's talking about the subtext of that text is a booty call or whatever. That kind of thing. That was funny. It was nice wordplay, and I thought that was good.
He's like, yeah, but it's like at 11 o'clock at night.
Right.
He's like, yeah, but he's a waiter. He's like, yeah. But.
Yeah. I liked that moment.
I was actually going to the fast forwarding to Christmas / New Year's.
Oh, you have a bigger gap, dear Lord. Okay.
Yeah, Tim, I do have a
That's fair. Isn't that saying a lot? Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So Carrie and her assistant exchange Christmas gifts. Carrie gets Louise a new Louis Vuitton bag, and Louise gets Carrie a DVD of Meet Me in St. Louis, which is where Louise is from, and Carrie's never seen the movie. And on New Year's, Carrie makes a cup of noodles and puts the movie on, and can't get through the cup of noodles before turning the movie off. And she made it up to the trolley song,
right.
Which it's been a minute since I've seen the movie.
You had a musical face.
I've seen everything. I've tried to see everything, especially the big stuff, you know?
Right.
Judy Garland didn't make a ton of movies, but that's an important musical, big time thing.
Sure.
I think that's in the first 15 minutes of the movie. Like that's
dear
how
Lord.
long she. Like the cup of noodles is probably still warm.
I'm
when
ready.
you turn
I'm
that
ready
off.
to go. Where are you? I'll meet you. Let's get some Chinese food. Let's go.
That's like, I don't know. That's rough. They should not really give that movie a chance. It made me laugh. Like, wow, shit.
Yeah, to be fair, she doesn't even go right to eating and leaving. She falls asleep first and seems well snug before she makes that decision.
She falls asleep, and her troglodyte ass gets woken by Miranda, who calls her on her goddamn landline. If she hadn't had a landline and had only stuck to her cell, she could have put that shit on mute and could have had a nice night's sleep.
True.
But no. So
Yeah.
fast forwarding a lot.
A lot. Okay, so the next thing
Things
I
get
have,
really the comedy gets really sparse at the end of this movie.
I think the next thing is them going after them going to the show, the garment or whatever, the not garment, what do you call it, the dress show, whatever.
The fashion show.
Fashion show. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah.
The right after the fashion show, and it's Gan Samantha.
I have wasabi, so go on. What's your thing at the fashion show?
Oh, is that before? Okay.
I have no idea where it is, but go on.
The fashion show, I don't remember. That's the next thing I have. And they go watch all the fashion. It's really, really boring. And so she comes out after the show, and some protesters throw red paint on her.
Right.
And she just goes, God, I love New York. And I was like, all right, I love that. That's great.
So, yeah, no, I understood that. I remember so I live in North Carolina now.
Yep, we both do.
Grew up in New York. Not New York, but like close enough we got to the city pretty often. And
it's only an hour away. Train.
Less than that, really. I took.
Well, it depends on if you're going stops or straight.
Right. I took a friend after he got engaged to a Yankee game and a Met game for a weekend because he's a big Mets fan. He'd never been to Yankee Stadium either. So, and took him to the first for both. And they started, and he was shocked by the New York traffic. And because they started like honking at us before like the light had just turned green and they were already honking at us. And he's like, but the light just turned green. I'm like, I know, it's great. This is the best. This is the way it should be.
Where
people got to start
he
going.
From that he didn't? He's a Met
Syracuse. He was from Syracuse.
Oh, he's too far north. Okay, that's a weird. That far up north in a Met fan. All right.
Because they had the minor league team was there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So my next thing was so Samantha tries to surprise Smith for their anniversary. I think it's an anniversary.
Right.
By doing the sushi on her naked body trick. And he gets stuck shooting a movie or whatever late. And he ends up like 3 or 4 hours late. And he comes home and she's like, 4 hours late. What the hell?
He does call,
but she can't pick up the phone because she's stuck on the table she's naked with some sushi on her.
Right.
And she's like yelling at him, I got wasabi in places one should never get wasabi.
Yeah. That made me chuckle again.
Yeah,
it did. It did.
It's a funny line. I'm concerned with the quality of her sushi rolls because wasabi should not be in the sushi roll. Like, where was she putting the wasabi? That's something. It's a dipping thing.
The idea of it was funny. I don't think in practicality that makes much sense.
No. And I'm also concerned about the dog eating all that sushi.
Sure, because it kept falling to the ground. And
when she finally got up.
I'm pretty positive, and I'm not a sushi person, but I'm pretty positive that the Japanese are pretty particular on how and how much to use of wasabi.
Very little. It's disrespectful to the fish if you use too much.
Yeah. So I know we kind of mess that up in general as a culture, but yeah, I don't have a whole lot more after this, Patrick.
I got literally 2 more notes.
I got the $17 in waiting. Please get in. He just said 18. And
what?
then
What do you got?
Oh, when Miranda shows up to talk to Carrie about her discretion, or her after she's revealed her discretion.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Which I did thought it was
where she
slightly
mentions
using-
that she told Big that.
Yeah, do you guys want anything to drink? Wine. Do you want another bottle? Yes. Like, I thought that was slightly funny.
Right.
And then after that, right, she tells her, like, she's sitting in the cab outside her place, and she's like, $17 waiting, please get in. Just at 18, like, please get in. That's about it. Other than maybe what your gut tell you. After Samantha reveals about her weight gain type stuff.
This is I was gonna say at this point in the movie, I'm laughing at it because it's trying to pretend that the flawless Kim Cattrall has noticeably gained weight,
right?
And all of her friends immediately call her out on it,
right? I didn't even catch it at first. They do a really quick clip, I'm almost thinking, because if we focus on this for too long, it's obviously fake.
Right. They put her in pants
gut.
that I guess are too tight to give her a kind of a muffin top, but it's not really there.
It's not.
And they're like Mario Cotone is freaking out, oh my god. And but really what I'm like laughing at, what the fuck is this movie? Right. Is Carrie getting not angry or whatever, but she calls Samantha out, you gotta control your dog, but she's humping my pillow, which costs my $300 pillow. $300 throw pillow,
small little pillow, which is oh my god, you gotta hate these people too.
I know, $300. Okay, yeah. So last thing that I was the meta joke with the girls at the end of the movie drinking Cosmos.
Right. It's a callback to the first episode, isn't it?
I mean, it's a callback to the show in general. Why did we ever
from the first episode? I feel like
that's
the
just
same club.
Drinking Cosmos was probably the same club, but it's the Drinking Cosmos is the signature part of the show.
Well, they even made a reference to that. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what made me laugh. Why did we ever stop drinking these? Because everyone else started.
Right.
That made me
But I feel like that club reminded me of
you're probably right. You might be right. I don't know.
Because again, as you mentioned earlier, they even make a few references to Carrie wearing outfits from throughout the show. Basically, at one point, they're doing a whole party of what to keep and what to throw away, and she's wearing the outfit from the intro.
The opening credits too. It's the only one I think that I remembered.
I think there was a couple others, but yeah.
But that's all I got. What did you give this category, Tim?
Dude, again, I feel like we probably gave it too much credit because we really had to search and hunt here, but I gave it a 2.
I gave it a 4.5.
Oh!
Out of 10.
That's still a lot.
I got some belly laughs. I did.
I did not.
Okay.
I did not. I think most of this was smirk. There was a couple of times from Samantha where I got a chuckle. I was almost stone-faced in this movie. So I am a bit wow. But okay.
All right. Hater.
Yeah.
Boy, are you going to give this a lower ranking than War Inc.?
No, I'm actually... Well, I don't want to give it away.
Goddamn misogynist. All right. Supporting characters.
That's not fair. Okay.
Might be. Mr. Big, played by Chris Noth, is Carrie's longtime on-again, off-again boyfriend.
Yeah, side characters here, by the way. People.
Not my favorite of Carrie's boyfriends, but one of the few for characters she actually respected.
Right, which the one that keeps coming back.
Which I guess is why they ended up as the best match. Okay, so Mr. Big, I'm not really clear on what Big's reasons are for bailing on the wedding.
Because he had 3 failed marriages before. And
yeah, I don't think the movie is sure either. Just the guest list and that this is his 3rd try.
I honestly think there is something here and they just didn't give it any due diligence because honestly, it doesn't matter. It's really about the main female characters. I actually don't. I kind of get it, right? He's messed it up so many times. He feels like he's a big failure. I actually don't. I kind of get it, but at the same time, you're like, dude, you're making really bad decisions.
I'm just remembering this part in the movie that I forgot to put out for laugh out loud moments for hilarity. And this is for Carrie. Honestly, during the rehearsal dinner, one of the like big partners is there. And he's like constantly cracking like jokes about like, I hope this actually works this time or whatever.
Another dude from Californication, among other things.
Oh, is he? Okay.
He's kind of like a character actor you've seen.
Yeah, no, I've seen him and stuff, whatever. But he's like cracking jokes about like, let's see what works this time, whatever shit like that.
Right.
And like Carrie's just like, this guy's a dick.
Yeah, I feel like everybody's very clear on that right away.
Well, Samantha just calls him out like, hey, fucker, I'm talking. So I'm like,
yeah,
girl.
Right.
But like, I just like Carrie. Just like, I was like, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just I appreciate that. Like, I guess like Big takes like when he turns the limo around and like tells like, yeah, I'm out, and like 2 seconds, like, what the hell am I doing?
It's more than 2 seconds, but yeah.
Regardless, it's like,
and it's like one of those things. Like if they try to make it clear, like if he was able to get in touch with Carrie sooner, he would have been talked down on this a lot sooner. But because Charlotte's daughter had the phone.
Right, I guess.
So it's almost weirdly blaming Charlotte's.
This is the point. This movie has the bar on the floor for Big. It's like, it's not really his fault. It's like, you know?
He still made this very questionable decision.
Right, exactly. And like the way he woos her back, I was guffawing. I was like, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, you mean how he decided to just send everybody's love letter, but anything genuine from himself at all?
Motherfucker just copy and pasted the love letters from the library book that she showed him at the beginning of the movie.
Yep.
I was like, that's it. Yep. That's it. And then he's like, I don't know what else to say. I'm like, that's it.
It is such a weird movie, man. Because it's the same thing with Steve. I'm like, wait a minute. Why is everybody okay that he cheated? I don't understand.
Wait, let's not get into that yet. Let's not do that yet. I want to finish off on Big.
Fair enough, but it's because the same main characters. It's like, what is going on here?
Big is the big winner in this movie. Because
I know. Because not awful was he throughout the show.
Oh, obviously. Complete dick in the show. But my dude wins the whole movie. He gets to marry the woman he loves in a civil ceremony, which he wanted all with in the beginning. Follows it up with lunch at a diner afterwards, and then
gets everything he wanted.
Keeps separate apartments afterwards. Unbelievable. Yeah, guess what? I looked this up in the Wikipedia. In the second movie, they're still keeping separate apartments.
What?
Swear to Christ, that's like the plot point of the whole thing. Like they decide to spend like a couple days apart from each other, but like, yeah, she still has her apartment.
Why break up with what works?
By the time the sequel show starts up, they are finally living in one place together. But I'll get into that one later at the end.
I thought the second movie comes out after this.
No.
What?
No. It's this movie, sequel movie, then the show.
No spoilers for people. Doesn't he die in the second movie?
Okay, see, no, he doesn't die in the second. He does in the sequel show.
Oh, I thought that was the second movie.
No. In the sequel movie, they all go to like Saudi Arabia.
What? All right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, like the plot between Carrie and Big is that like he just wants to stay at home and watch TV, and she wants to go out, and she wants to go out and enjoy herself and like live life. And he's like, I'm old. And at the end of the movie, like she like kisses Aiden, who she meets in Saudi Arabia, and this is all me reading Wikipedia. And
I was about to say, like, you watched all this shit?
Nope, still haven't watched the movie. So she calls Big, confesses what she does, and he takes the TV out of the bedroom and promises to, like, I don't know, stop watching TV or whatever. I don't know. And that's the resolution for the movie. That one, she gets everything she wants.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, let's go.
appreciate-
What are some other side characters? That's move on.
All right, so Steve Brady, played by Dave Eichenberg, is Miranda's husband, and he would never.
Steve Truth.
Even though this movie's begging you to believe it's not only plausible that Steve would cheat on Miranda, but he was slightly justified in doing so.
Yeah, I mean it's so bizarre because it's like I feel like even from the original show, right? They try to play up so much how much below her league Steve is to begin
Right, which
with.
is why she kind of rejects him. Like, he's just like a really good lay.
Right.
In fact, I think that's how they meet. I think she's like stood up on a date and he's like just there at the bar
I think so.
because he's working as a bartender or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think she catches he catches her eye because he's like reading an interesting book, like while she's like pouring her wine.
Right. And so it's just yeah, it's unfortunate, man. I don't know. I don't like any of this. I really don't.
No, I don't either. But
it's unfortunate on both ends. Like it's just
it is. It's
yeah.
like, this is just bad. I don't like any of this. But my dude doesn't get much to do in this movie at all. Besides,
none of the males do. Big gets the most, I guess.
Yeah, he just is sad that he cheated on Miranda and he's sorry about it, and then he's kind of angry at her for cutting him out of her life.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, the most you get is like, hey, like, you want to cut this short, the sex we're having short, because that's messed up because we haven't had sex since there was snow on the ground or whatever. Right? That's kind of like his big.
He has the audacity to ask for a second position. She's like, just finish it. She's like,
yeah,
come the fuck on.
Right.
Anyway.
Hey, if you're close, I kind of would get slight frustration if you're close that somebody stalls it, maybe. But anyway,
I think he was just, you know what? If you're asking for her to go on top after 6 months, you went too close to the sun, sir.
Yeah, that's asking a lot.
Yeah.
You should be grateful that you're getting any, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Notice, by the way, at the end of the movie, she basically gets his wish.
Yeah. It's so really like,
Steve,
okay, hello.
The guy wins again.
It's like a weird. All of a sudden, we're getting like random nudity and such at the end of the movie. Like,
only random movie we get in the movie. Thank you, Cynthia Nixon. Jennifer Hudson plays Louise, Carrie's new assistant, who serves two purposes in this movie. One, give Carrie a youthful and hopeful character to bounce off of while everyone else in this movie is miserable.
Doesn't work.
And finally, add a black character to the cast.
Which is nice and refreshing.
It sure is. Well, honestly, Jennifer Hudson is an amazing talent who is so much better than this. So
it's upsetting. It really is. 'Cause it's like, wow. And it's like, it's almost like they try to throw her a song at the end, too. And it's just like, gosh, this is such a waste. It's upsetting.
Yeah. As an assistant, she helps unpack and organize Carrie's old apartment, update her old website for the new century. I think my girl was using GeoCities or something.
I guess.
And gets her a new flip phone.
Time to time.
She gets her a new flip phone. It's like, God damn it.
Yep.
Kind of wish he had tried to push her for a smartphone, but oh well. She falls in love and leaves New York and goes back to St. Louis.
Which was the boy she was in love with that made her leave.
Yeah.
Yep.
Magical.
Yep.
You
don't get any of this. You kind of get the innuendo of the boy walking in when she's back home, and then we kind of jump forward. So you don't get any of this actually on screen, but there you go.
Yeah, it's all explained in conversations with Carrie.
Yep.
Harry, played by Evan Handler, just a really sweet guy. Doesn't get anything else to do. He loves an illegal cigar. An illegal Cuban cigar after a great dinner.
The biggest he gets is explaining to Carrie that Big was there.
Yeah,
at the hospital at the
during
end.
Charlotte's delivery.
Literally his one time to shine.
Right.
And it's weak.
Also, he loves an illegal Cuban cigar. It's a great dinner.
Sure. This is it for me, by the way.
Smith Jared, played by Jason Lewis, is Samantha's long-term boyfriend, and his crime in this movie is his work is keeping him on a different schedule than Samantha. Yeah. Honestly, no hard feelings here. I'm glad they broke up. Samantha is a bird that cannot be caged and should never find happiness in just one other person.
And he takes it exceptionally well.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So
he's really bummed out, it seems, but he's gonna be okay.
But like that shit with her, like after when she decides to break up with him, and like that shit with her, like still like shoveling down ice cream on the plane. I was like, God damn it! Couldn't she just be happy as she's leaving? That pissed me off.
That was also played for laughs. It's like, this is not funny.
No, it pissed me off. Like, she should be happy with her decision. And, like, this is the right thing. She's like, more shoveling more ice cream. Like, God damn it.
Yeah. No, I gave this category a 1.
So did I.
It's
so did
not
I.
Good.
Yeah.
I gave this a total of 6 points.
I gave it an 8.5.
That's way too freaking high.
So you have this movie
tied
with War Inc.
I'm gonna put it above.
No, this movie made me laugh definitely more than War Inc.
Yeah,
so,
I think it deservedly needs to be above, but this movie was, I don't get it. Like, I know it's not exactly for me, but I don't know.
Like I said, I'm a bigger Sex and the City fan than you. I don't know what to tell you.
You are, but I don't know, man.
Oh yeah. So in the sequel series, since you were asking, yes, Mr. Big dies in the first episode on his Peloton.
Right, I knew that, and then like there was like a whole thing because Peloton was kind of like upset or whatever.
Yeah, this is really funny. It was perfect timing because I think Chris Noth got hit with some accusations for some sexual harassment. So like, oh no, that worked out well for us. We got rid of his ass.
You said 8 points, right?
8.5.
Oh, dear. What the? Okay.
What are you getting so angry about? It's over War Inc. and nothing else.
No, you're right. We got a lot of season left ahead of us, and I think that's just way too high of points. But
we'll see what happens.
Fair enough.
Shout out to my guy Berger, Ron Livingston, who did not get a shout out in Carrie's book highlights in the beginning of the movie, but that prick Alexander does. Fucking criminal. Berger broke up with Carrie over a Post-it, but he treated her better than Alexander ever did. Did you understand anything that I just said?
No.
Okay.
Again, I'm very spotty. Very spotty.
Okay, so you know who Ron Livingston is?
Obviously, yes.
Okay, so he dated Carrie for a little while. He was also a writer.
Okay.
Unfortunately, she was a little better at writing than he was.
Right.
And he was writing some novel or whatever, and she pointed out that his characters were a little unrealistic because he had one of his characters from New York, like with a scrunchie, and she's like, yeah, nobody from New York who's actually from New York would be running around the city with a scrunchie. And like, this is a great scene where like they're at a bar together and he sees somebody in the bar from New York with a scrunchie. He's like, look, there it is. And she's like, all right. And she taps the person on the shoulder. He's like, hi. And she's like, hey, how's it going? He's like, where are you from? She's like, Oklahoma. He's like, Anyway, yeah, he breaks up with her over a Post-it. Like the next day, she just finds a Post-it like on the fridge. She's like, what the fuck? And she's like, sorry, I can't. And he's gone.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's really screwed up. Alexander is played by Mikhail Baryshnikov, and he is Carrie's big boyfriend in the last season, and he's a piece of shit who like hits her and shit in the last season. He takes her he takes her to Paris. Yeah, I told you this. The last season is dark. It's not fun.
All right. Dang.
Yeah.
Is this it for you? Dear Lord, this is awful.
No, I got more. You
got more? Okay.
I got more. My buddy Roger Ebert gave this movie 2 out of 4 stars. My favorite part of his review is when he admitted to Googling how do female dogs masturbate. Tim's fucking losing it. This is great.
That's gotta be the worst thing to find on someone's computer.
All right.
Oh, okay.
So this movie had a budget of $65 million.
Okay.
Worldwide gross of a little over $418.7 million. Debuted at number 1, beating out Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull in its second weekend of release.
Okay.
And The Strangers in its first weekend of release.
Oh, man, I saw that in theaters.
We were definitely there in
Yeah.
its first weekend of release, Tim.
I know, yeah, we were. Ocean City, Maryland.
Yeah, I think we both saw both those, that Indiana Jones in its first weekend of release in Ocean City, Maryland.
I think you might be right, yeah.
Yeah. And I think I haven't seen The Stranger since, and it was one of the worst movie experiences of my life, and it wasn't because of the movie.
No, it wasn't because of the movie. I have long-standing feeling I need to rewatch that movie.
Me too.
Because it was the wrong environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so, okay, so...
What are we watching next week, Tim?
We got the same ranking, but different scores. All right, I'm gonna do something that I feel like I remember liking, but I'm curious to rewatch, which is gonna be Sex Drive.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I remember enjoying that movie.
I do. And I remember, what's his name? Cyclops there.
Cyclops.
Yeah, James Marsden. He play the older brother in that movie that they steal the car from?
I just remember Clark Duncan is in that, right?
Oh, maybe I'm messing this up.
No, it's not Clark Duncan. What's his name? It's Clark something. Clark Duke. That was close. Yeah, Marsden's there.
Okay, that's why I remember James Marsden's there. I think he's the kid. They steal the car from him.
I don't remember that. I do remember Seth Green as like the
it's the Amish.
The Amish guy.
Yeah, I feel like there's some good. Yeah, there it is. Yep, it's his brother's car. I think that's. I remember being slightly amused by Marsden. Clark Duke, which I thought was going to be
he's
bigger
the funniest part.
thing.
Yeah, he's really funny in the movie.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be bigger, and I remember him being. It was kind of one of his first big breakout things. Was this movie?
That and Hot Tub Time Machine. Yeah.
Yes,
And he had that run on The Office.
For sure. So I'm curious to revisit this movie because I do remember liking it. Like, I feel like it was one of those things where, like, I got it from a red box with friends, and we ended up really liking it.
We didn't watch that together? Oh,
no,
okay.
I'm pretty positive I saw this with friends, like home from a summer, and liking it. But I have not revisited since. So I'm curious to give it another shot.
Cool. Yeah.
All right, that is it for us. Please show your support for the podcast by leaving a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, where you happen to listen to the show. Also, sharing is caring. Be sure to follow us on social media to get the latest show updates. You can contact us by emailing at filmbrochamp@gmail.com or find us by searching for the hashtag FilmBroChamp. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Film Bro Champ podcast. Peace out, everyone.